Welcome to a brand new episode of Teaching Math 2.0. In today's episode, we're going to use our skills from the previous paragraphs to good use. We'll be solving equations by factorizing them and figuring out which value of x is true. So stick around and allow me to teach you how to solve quadratic equations. The quadratic equations I showed you in paragraph 1 were of the x squared is c kind. X squared is 9 would mean that x could be 3 or x could be minus 3. And 5x squared minus 6 is 314 must be solved like this. These equations are solved using the balance method and are, in my opinion, pretty easy when you practice enough with them. However, should I show you the quadratic equation 2x squared plus 17x plus 31 is 9x minus 11, then you might start stressing out and have no clue on how to start. So let's move this one out of the way and we'll start with something more easy. This here is the equation x squared plus 8x is equal to 0. This here is a quadratic equation, just a whole lot simpler. To solve this equation, we first need to factorize the expression. We turn it into x plus 8 is equal to 0, and then we can solve it. Because now our sum has been turned into a product, where our answer has to be 0. And these questions are easy to figure out. Because when I multiply two numbers and the result is 0, I know for a fact that one of the numbers is equal to 0. This is called the zero product property in math, and is used to figuring out possible solutions for equations. Our current line is a multiplication of two factors, where the resulting product is 0. So either the first part is 0 or the second part is 0. So x is equal to 0 or x plus 8 is equal to 0. And if something plus 8 is equal to 0, that means that this x must be equal to minus 8. So the solutions for this equation are x is 0 or x is minus 8. And that's how you solve this equation. Let me do one more before we can try one on our own. 5x squared minus 15x is equal to 0. First, I factorize the equation into 5x, x minus 3 is equal to 0. This means that 5x is equal to 0 or x minus 3 is equal to 0. Using the balance method results in x being equal to 0 or x being equal to 3. Now you try. 10x squared plus 12x is equal to 0. The solutions are x is equal to 0 or x must be equal to minus 1.2. First we factorize it into 2x. 5x plus 6 is equal to 0, meaning 2x is equal to 0 or 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. The first part is quickly done, as x is equal to 0. The second part requires just a few more steps. First we subtract 6 to receive 5x is equal to minus 6. And then we divide by 5 to end up with x is equal to minus 1.2. And yes, I know I told you we weren't going to use decimal numbers, but that was about factorizing trinomials. Speaking of which, let's solve a trinomial next. X squared plus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. My favorite. To solve this equation, we have to factorize it. Here we use the product sum method. We need to look for two numbers where the product is 12 and the sum is 7. The sole combination is 3 and 4, so we factorize our line into x plus 3, x plus 4 is equal to 0. Having factorized it, we can use the zero product property to solve this line. The first bracket, x plus 3, must be 0, or the second bracket, x plus 4, must be 0. So now we have x plus 3 is 0 or x plus 4 is 0. Solving both sides by subtracting the number within, we receive our final line. X is equal to minus 3 or x is equal to minus 4. And there you have it. That's how you solve a quadratic equation. Let's practice a few more. Here is x squared plus 5x minus 24 is equal to 0. Again, we start by factorizing it. This becomes x plus 8, x minus 3, as these numbers multiplied give me minus 24 and added give me 5. We then write down our intermediate step, and we end up with x is equal to minus 8 or x is equal to 3. Next one, x squared minus 13x plus 36 is equal to 0. The combination here is x minus 4, x minus 9, which means that our final answers are x is 4 or x is 9. And lastly, 16x squared minus 25 is equal to 0. This here is a difference of squares, so we can factorize it into 4x plus 5 and 4x minus 5 is equal to 0. By using the balance method, we end up with x is equal to minus 1.25 or x is equal to 1.25. By the way, if you wanted to solve that last one by using the balance method from start to finish, that's also doable. Removing the minus 25 by adding 25 to the other side, dividing everything by 16, and then taking the square root of the fraction 25 over 16 will give me the same answers, 1.25 or minus 1.25. Before we stop this educational episode on quadratic equations, let me bring out my old friend, the coordinate plane. This here is the graph of y is x squared plus 4x minus 21. And the question here is, what are the coordinates of the x-intercept? Meaning, what are the coordinates of both a and b? And just as we did in paragraph 7.1, we are going to use the formula of the graph. As both a and b are on the x-axis, we know that their y-coordinates are 0. So we set our formula equal to 0. X squared plus 4x minus 21 is equal to 0. We then factorize our equation and receive x minus 3, x plus 7 is equal to 0. Going further, we make x minus 3 is equal to 0 or x plus 7 is equal to 0, meaning x is 3 or x is minus 7. And that means the coordinates of a are minus 7.0, as this lies in the negative side of the coordinate plane, and the coordinates of b are 3.0. And that's how you find the coordinates of the x-intercepts of a quadratic graph. In the next video, I will explain how we're going to solve that equation I showed you at the beginning of this paragraph. Don't worry, as long as you keep practicing, you too will be able to solve difficult problems like that. I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye bye!